Good evening. This is CTV News for Election Day, November 5th. I'm Byron Scott. Thank you for joining us. Well, today is another day in America where history will be made. As we've heard, this is one of the most consequential elections in our history. Former President Donald Trump put his hat in the ring and is running against Vice President Kamala Harris, who has passed the torch after Joe Biden stepped out. We have team coverage tonight throughout the county covering all the races that matter to you. And starting with the presidential race, both candidates are seen making their final pitches to voters in Pennsylvania yesterday. Vice President Harris ended the night in Philadelphia on the famous Rocky Steps to share what she called momentum that is on their side. Earlier that day, Harris was rallying with voters in Allentown, Scranton, Pittsburgh, and Reading. Meantime, former President Trump started his day in North Carolina, followed by Pennsylvania and ending in Michigan. Trump rallied voters in each state saying, quote, "We're on the yard line, and I'm giving you the ball. Go vote."
November 5th will be the most important day in the history of our country. We're going to turn it around. We're going to turn it around very fast. You're going to be very proud. And together we will make America powerful again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America healthy again. We will make America strong again.
With only a few hours left, we still have work to do. And as you've heard me say before, we like hard work. Hard work is good work. Hard work is joyful work. And make no mistake, we will win. We will win. And we will win. We will win.
Well, Trump will be hosting his election night watch party in Florida. Harris will be hosting her party at her alma mater, Howard University in the district. We'll have team coverage from the Harris campaign tonight starting at 8:30. And with a Senate seat on the line, Democratic candidate Angela Alsobrooks is pulling out all the stops as the race heads to the finish line. The Prince George's County executive rallied supporters last night in Riverdale, hoping to make history as Maryland's first black woman in the U.S. Senate. Waving "Keep Maryland Blue" signs, the crowd listened to some big names as big names rallied them with passionate speeches about progress.
We are ready for a change. We are ready for leadership. We are not going back. We are only going forward. And we are going to send a message that is so loud that our ancestors are going to hear it.
He's pro-choice, but then you see all the stuff that he did that is anti-abortion. It's like, Larry, who are you, bro? Come on now. You got to be one or the other.
We have worked hard together, all of us. And I want to thank every single one of you for every door you've knocked on, for every phone call you have made, for every neighbor you have persuaded, for talking to your colleagues and your church friends. And guess what, you all? Tomorrow the people will speak. This has been a really challenging year and a half. I have to tell you, it has been the honor of a lifetime.
And doing her part, Angela Alsobrooks cast her ballot this morning, along with her daughter, Alex, who is also a first-time voter. Mariah Jalad was at the polls for that moment.
I'm outside of Wise High School in Upper Marlboro, where we've got a big group of supporters for Angela Alsobrooks. And many of the voters that I talked to today said they voted for Kamala Harris and Angela Alsobrooks down the ballot. Now, this has been a highly anticipated Senate race, with the Prince George's County executive going against the very popular two-time Republican governor of Maryland, Larry Hogan. Now, he has an uphill battle when it comes to this race, as this is a very heavily Democratic state. They're both vying to fill that seat left behind by Ben Cardin in the Senate. Angela Alsobrooks would be the only female representative in the Maryland delegation if she does win that seat.
My daughter had a chance to vote for her mother and Kamala Harris.
Come on,
for her first vote. Awesome. And what a beautiful, and you know, so many, think about all of the people who made this possible. You know, there are people who really believe today was possible, and so do I. And I believe even more is possible for all of our families, which is why this race is so important.
Even though Larry Hogan was a popular governor, I think many of the voters here today are more focused on getting a Democratic majority in the Senate next term.
I hope that the results will be Harris will be the first female president, that we have, and Alsobrooks will transition into the Senate.
And what are you hoping for in the outcome tonight?
Democratic victory. I'll say that whatever candidate wins, that they actually do good for the country and not just for themselves.
A common theme among people at the polls this morning, first-time voters, including also Brooks' daughter, Alex.
To enjoy the moment, take it in, come in with joy. This is a really exciting time. This is history. I mean, there's never going to be a time again where we had this so much significant history on the ballot for a while. And so I think, honestly, just take it in, also just urge your friends to vote. I think this is just a really great opportunity. And like my mom said, this is like what our ancestors, everyone else, this is just so significant. And it does make a difference. Your vote truly makes a difference.
Why did you want to come out today and vote for the first time?
I think a change needs to happen, definitely. So I'm going to vote blue. And I hope that the best could come, honestly.
And beyond the national implications of this election, major changes could be coming to Prince George's County's political landscape, with several special elections coming down the pipeline, depending on the results of this election and more. Prince George's County has had the national spotlight this election cycle, thanks to County Executive Angela Also Brooks being the Democratic nominee in a consequential Senate race. A county council seat is also up for grabs, as longtime council member Mel Franklin resigned before pleading guilty to theft and perjury charges. Depending on the results of these elections, big changes could be coming to county leadership. If Angela Also Brooks beats out Larry Hogan and goes to the U.S. Senate, the county could have a special election early next year to replace her in county government. But if she doesn't resign her position before December 5th, the county council will choose their own interim county exec. The shortlist for likely candidates includes State's Attorney Aisha Braveboy and Council Member Calvin Hawkins, who both have been successful fundraising and have high profiles on the county political scene. Other potential Democratic candidates include Bowie Mayor Tim Adams and County Council President Jolene Ivey. But Ivey is already in her own race this election cycle, hoping to become a council at-large member in a contest she's favored to win over Republican challenger Michael Riker. If she does win, another council seat will be empty, the one representing District 5, which includes parts of Bladensburg, Cheverly, and Lanham. One candidate has already thrown his hat into the ring for that seat, Democrat Ryan Middleton, who's earned an endorsement from Angela Also Brooks. Depending on how these races shake out, as many as 6 special elections could be coming in the county to replace Also Brooks, Ivey, and to replace a council member if they're chosen to succeed Also Brooks. That would total $8 million in special election-related costs for the county since Franklin's resignation.
Thank you, Mariah. Now, various bills to change the county's process of special elections have been proposed in County Council but remain unresolved. Well, Republican Senate candidate Larry Hogan was also casting his ballot this morning. The former governor was joined by his wife at Davidsonville Elementary School in Anne Arundel County. Hogan shared with voters that he did not vote for either Trump or Harris for president, nor did he cast a write-in ballot. Hogan emphasized to voters that, quote, "I will never vote for someone I don't believe in." And you're watching CTV News. I'm Byron Scott. Our team coverage of Election Day continues as we head to various polls around the county. Back in a bit. Stay tuned.
Join the CTV News team for live election coverage. With real-time updates, expert analysis, and exclusive insights from across the county. CTV News, bringing you complete coverage of the races that matter to you. Tune in to CTV News, special election night coverage. Live coverage begins at 8:30 p.m. CTV News, election results you can trust.
How much difference can one vote make? Since 2023, more than 60 U.S. elections have been tied or won by just one vote. So this fall, you or a friend could be the tiebreaker. And that could make all the difference. People are more likely to vote when encouraged by a friend. So use your power to decide this election. Make sure you're good to vote and encourage your friends to make a voting plan at votevotevote.com.
An official message from Medicare.
I usually love plot twists, but this year I'm comparing my options during Medicare open enrollment.
You don't want any surprises. You can't assume your current health or drug plan is the best one for you.
And make sure your prescriptions are covered. That's important.
And save some money.
Paperbacks and saving bucks? I like that.
Review your coverage and compare your health options at Medicare.gov. Open enrollment ends December 7th. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Welcome back. With some races as close as ever, the state is reassuring voters that the polling sites and drop-off boxes are secure. We continue our team coverage with Noel James in Davidsonville with more on what the state is saying on that.
As we approach the close of a 2024 election cycle, there have been concerns about the safety and the integrity of ballot drop-off boxes. But the State Board of Elections in Maryland is confident in the safety of polling locations. With long lines and general excitement among voters, Maryland, like the rest of the country, is taking no chances at the polls. However, in Carroll County, an official of the Republican Central Committee tailed the county's election director as she retrieved ballots from a ballot box and drove them back to the county election board offices. Now, state Republicans in that county believe that this incident highlighted, quote, potential risks of insufficient chain of custody protections over mail-in ballots. They are also calling on the Board of Elections to alter their policies on ballot transportation to comply with the Election Assistance Commission's best practices. Jared Demarinis, the Maryland State Board of Elections Administrator, however, says the 24 local boards of elections already follow these practices.
I think that at one point here, the integrity of the elections and are performed by professionals. They are hired by a bipartisan board, and so Marylanders can feel safe and confident when the transportation of those ballots back to the offices to be processed by a bipartisan board of canvassers. It is going to be done, and the chain of custody is going to be met.
Demarinis also says that people have nothing to worry about as we wrap up this election cycle.
Well, one, election judges are comprised of Maryland citizens. They're the neighbors, your friends. They do not do anything with the outcome of the election. Voters determine the outcome of the election. To say anything otherwise is disingenuous.
And another issue top of mind for voters, election anxiety. We take you to Bowie High School, where our Michaela Newton has more.
Yeah, well, not a huge turnout here at Bowie High School for the general election just yet, but we were able to speak with some voters. Some voters told us that they're actually anxious about the outcome of the election, but others not so much.
Few residents arrived at Bowie High School ready to vote for the general election.
Oh, tons of anxiety. I'll be up all night worrying about it, so I'm stressing about it, but.
You just have to hope.
Yeah.
That's it. You just have to hope. Because people need to be treated like people.
Some voters even brought future voters along.
No anxieties at all.
Why not?
I think we got it in the bag. Because I said, women, we're coming out to save the day for all our daughters.
I'm also excited to see my sister vote because she's turning 18 next year, and I'm excited to see her vote.
While many voters were excited, some were anxious about the outcome of the election.
Well, it's so uncertain that, of course, if it could go either way. But I believe in Americans, and we'll get through it.
As far as the national race is concerned, the chips will fall where they may.
And polls close tonight at 8 p.m., but stick with CTV News both on air and online as we bring you election coverage. Reporting in Bowie, Maryland, I'm Michaela Newton for CTV News.
And Bryce Parker is outside of First Baptist Church of Glenarden, where he spoke with voters who wanted to make sure their voices are being heard.
After years of anticipation, the 2024 election is finally here. And here at the First Baptist Church of Glenarden, people have been coming in and outside since about 7 a.m., excited to have their voices finally heard in this historic election.
I just think it was important, especially for young people. This is my first election that I'm actually voting in, and I felt like as a nation, we've kind of grown out of that idea, like, oh, whatever happens, happens. Like, that's why I felt like it was important to come today. I actually am SGA at my school, Towson University, so I just felt like it was so important, especially for younger people, to come out and vote.
Because we need to make sure this country's going in the right direction. Keep pushing things along and just getting the process going in a better way.
Oh man, I have been really, really looking forward towards this, I love Kamala, even when she was running for the president the first time.
We want freedom. We want reproductive freedom, and we're tired of racism against black community. That's why I voted today.
And honestly, it's not even about like who you vote for. It's just more about getting your voice heard, because I feel like the days of just saying like, oh, I'm tired of this and tired of this and not doing nothing is over. So I felt like I needed to be a part of the change and start, looking towards the better solution.
I wanted to help her vote for the new president of the United States. What her best decision was to make for keep our country safe and help our country in need and vote the best president possible.
Polls close at 8 p.m. and because Maryland is a state that does start counting their early voting numbers, we should expect some sort of picture of who is in the lead shortly after 8 p.m. Reporting from Kettering, I'm Bryce Parker, CTV News.
Thank you, Bryce. Now, Maryland is one of 10 states that will have abortion access on the ballot. Here in Maryland, that ballot is question number 1. CTV's Katara Jones is outside a polling location in Greenbelt with more.
That's right. When Maryland voters go to the polls today, they will have to decide on question 1, which is a constitutional amendment that would codify reproductive freedom and protect access to an abortion here in Maryland. Now, if Maryland voters overwhelmingly vote for the constitutional amendment, it would guarantee the right to reproductive freedom in the state constitution. Now, we had an opportunity to speak to Maryland voters here in Greenbelt and take a listen to what they have to say about question 1.
I hate that we have to vote for it, but I'm happy to at least codify it. So,
You said you're happy to codify it. Why?
Because we shouldn't be having to deal with Roe versus Wade over and over again. This was a sealed deal.
I just feel like women should have the freedom to do whatever they want with their bodies. Like, it's our bodies. We don't tell men what to do with their bodies. And I just feel like it should be the same for women also.
I think everybody have the right to whatever they choose to do with their body. And for instance, if my daughter or somebody's daughter gets raped by someone, I want them to have the choice. Do I want to carry this pregnancy to full term, or do I want to end it?
It's important to note that abortion is legal here in the state of Maryland. However, with the Supreme Court overturning Roe versus Wade back in 2022, it left abortion laws to individual states. Reporting in Greenbelt, Katara Jones, CTV News.
Now, the ballot question will need more than 50% of voters to officially become a constitutional amendment. And still to come, CTV sat down with county residents to discuss what's important to them this election cycle. Don't move. Stay tuned.
Listen up, team. When I look around this room, I see a fighting team of brave antibodies. But the flu is coming in strong. The good news is, Anthony, the human we're tasked to protect, just got his flu shot, which supplied us with strong new gear to defend against the flu. So let's go fight for Anthony. Are you with me?
Let's work as a team to defend against the flu. Gear up with a flu shot to help protect others and reduce your risk of being sick or hospitalized with the flu. Learn more at getmyflushot.org.
Welcome back. From their hopes and desires to their deep concerns about the direction of the country, voters have a long list of concerns. Recently, we assembled a panel of voters to get their take on this election cycle. How many people, show of hands, voted early, and talk about why? Was there a sense of urgency this time?
Absolutely. I did not want to wait in line.
Okay.
I vote by mail, but I wanted to get it in and make sure it was counted.
Do you always vote early, or this year was there more of a sense of urgency? I know you were talking about that earlier.
There's more of a sense of urgency. I think there's a lot of important issues at stake, and it's important to get the vote out and get the word out as soon as possible.
Mr. Milligan?
Yeah, it was a sense of urgency for me.
So you already cast your vote, everyone here?
Yes.
Yes.
So what are the big issues? What drew you out this year? What's going on this campaign season?
For me, I don't want the government to make any decisions about my body at all. Okay, so the fact that, you know, they can decide whether or not a person can have an abortion is very disgusting.
Talk about, in your case, what's on the ballot as you see? What are the big issues?
Democracy is a big issue for me. I do not want to live in a dictatorship. I like the freedoms that we have to come and go, to speak, to get proper health care, to vote for who I want to vote for or not vote. That is my decision. And I do not think we would have any of those things if we had this democracy where someone dictates my every move, what I can and cannot do, what I can and cannot say, where I can and cannot go, and on and on.
Gentlemen?
I would say that racism is a big issue. There's a lot of divisiveness and a lot of identifying people from different ethnicities. and talking down in a negative manner. That's a concern for me. It's also a concern about being hopeful for the future. I need a government that protects me from people that want to misuse power against me because of my race or my gender or where I came from.
So, Mr. Milligan, what's on the ballot as you see it? What are the issues, or the issue for you?
Just about everything that is affecting me at my particular age right now. Reproductive issues, the economy, Project 2025 really bothers me. Being a federal government worker and living in the DMV in this particular area, we have a large amount of federal government workers that this Project 25 is going to dismantle, is going to destroy. And one of the biggest things with me with Project 25 is the dismantling of the Department of Education. To get rid of education is dumbing down to everything that we as a nation have stood up for, to be the best in everything that we've done, and to dumb down and take away education when we're constantly pushing STEM programs for our young people. You want to take those things away.
Let's talk about the race for president right now. It's a very tight race. How would you characterize how the campaigns are going at this point? Any one of you?
I would say that, number one, Vice President Harris has a very positive, upbeat campaign dealing with the day-to-day issues that we as Americans face. In addition to that, I think she makes a strong statement about being a public servant. The other campaign is more about, hey, you know, we're out here, we're all billionaires, we're all friends, it'll work out, do whatever you want to do. There's not necessarily, there's a different set of rules for one particular group than it is for everyone else. That concerns me.
They are indeed running two very different campaigns, yet the polls have them pretty much neck and neck. How do you explain that, Sherry?
I do not think that the polls are accurate. I'm sorry. Yes, the mail-in votes have been counted and the races are tight. The race is not tight. We have people that are early voters, and thank you for that. But no, the race is not over until the end. People are early, and we appreciate early people. But people are procrastinators. Let's be honest, right? And we have until November 5th. So it ain't over until it's over. Thank God for that. Because if it was neck and neck, we would all be panicking. As you can see, we're still hopeful. Okay? My mom says it's not over until it's over. It's not how you start, it's how you finish. And I love that quote, because when we finish off strong, we will have the right president, Kamala Harris. I believe that strongly.
And from elections 2024 to Simon Buggs here with the Tuesday Sports Page. Stay tuned.
What's going on, sports fans? Don't go anywhere, because coming right up, I've got some highlights for you from the UMD men's basketball team's first home game of the season. Be right back.
I'll never forget the day I nearly died. I was a young journalist with a great career, starting a family. The only way we found out I had any kind of heart issue was when I went into sudden death. My coworkers sprung into action. They've recently been trained in life-saving CPR protocols developed by the American Heart Association. They're the ones that kept me alive until the medics came. They did many tests on me in the hospital after my cardiac arrest and created a treatment plan, all with research from the American Heart Association. I think unless you are a heart disease patient, you may not know how much work the American Heart Association does behind the scenes to save your life. Since my cardiac arrest, I've had 2 more children. I've watched all 3 of my children grow into adulthood. I'm gonna cry now. Graduate from college, my daughter got married. I have grandchildren, and I'm still here.
Learn more about the American Heart Association's work at helpheart.org.
What's up, everyone? You know what time it is. Let's get into it. We begin with some highlights from the world of college hoops. It was an exciting night over at the Xfinity Center as the UMD men's basketball squad looked to start the season off strong as they played their first game of the year against Manhattan. In the first half, freshman center Derek Queen got off to a good start, scoring the team's first couple of baskets by dominating inside. And this helped the Terps jump out to a small lead, as at one point they led 11-7. But the Jaspers were able to go on a run, and shots like this floater from guard Devin Dinkins tied the game at 17-all. But Maryland was able to take the lead again, in part because of their defense, like this nice rejection by forward Tapara Kapare and guard Deshaun Harris-Smith doing a nice job of closing out on the shooter, which led to a transition layup for Julian Reese. And by halftime, Maryland was ahead 31-28 on Manhattan. In the second half, thanks to Reese going to work in the post with this hook shot, and this made tray ball from guard Rodney Rice, Maryland led by 10 within the first couple of minutes of the half. And it was just too much Maryland for the Jaspers, as the Terps' lead got even bigger, and they took down Manhattan on opening night, beating them 79-49. The Terps will take the court next against Mount St. Mary's on November 8th. Meantime, congratulations to Washington Nationals second baseman Luis Garcia Jr. for being named a Silver Slugger Award finalist. Garcia had a good season for the Nats, as he was one of just 6 players in the major leagues to hit over 280 with at least 40 extra base hits to go along with 20 stolen bases. And among National League basemen, the New York native ranked second in slugging percentage, RBIs, and batting average, and third in home runs. The winner of the award will be announced on November 12th. And that wraps up your Tuesday sports page. Simon Buggs, CTV Sports.
Thank you, Simon. Let's get a quick look now at our 3-day weather forecast. The post closed tonight at 8, so if you're outside, it'll be in the 60s. Tomorrow it's going to be partly sunny with a high of 79. Thursday, a high of 73, but with a 30% chance of showers. And Friday will be mostly sunny with a high of 67 and a low of 49. And now for a look at our community calendar. This Thursday, the Department of Parks and Recreation is hosting a Healthy Swaps for Holiday Favorites cooking demonstration. Explore delicious alternatives to traditional holiday side dishes without sacrificing flavor or nutrition. This event takes place again Thursday from 6 to 7 p.m. at the Lake Arbor Community Center. For more information, contact 301-699-2255. And that's the news for tonight. We'll see you later again with our CTV election coverage at 8:30, 9:30, and 10:30. Have a good night.
Join the CTV News team for live election coverage. With real-time updates, expert analysis, and exclusive insights from across the county. CTV News, bringing you complete coverage of the races that matter to you. Tune in to CTV News, special election night coverage. Live coverage begins at 8:30 p.m. CTV News, election results you can trust.
Children everywhere are waiting to open their presents under the tree. But for Native American children, holiday wishes can look a lot different.
My holiday wish is to be warm.
Many of these boys and girls live in deep poverty and have for generations.
I wish for a yummy holiday meal.
But for the students who spend much of their year at St. Joseph's Indian School, the holidays aren't just about wishes. They're about hope for the future.
My holiday wish is to have a brighter future. And thanks to St. Joe's, it's coming true.
And at St. Joseph's, an impressive 96% of students graduate high school, putting their dreams and wishes within reach.
Merry Christmas from all of us at St. Joseph's Indian School.
Learn how holiday wishes come true at stjo.org today.
It's traumatizing when you have a sick child. Then you are tired, very, very tired. The Ronald McDonald House is next to the hospital. They have a washing machine, kitchen, nice bed, but it's also being with parents of other children that are sick. It's very important for healing yourself. And when you are healthy, you can take care of your child.